just a few minutes and talk about from thanksgiving to thanksliving. From thanksgiving to thanksliving. Thank you, Ushers. You've been so kind. I wanted to look at this passage and this vein of thought out of a deep concern for the behavior of the believers. I'm somewhat troubled in spirit when it appears that the world sets the agenda for the church. I'm somewhat troubled when it appears that we are dancing to a new tune. When it comes down to being children of God and representative of the kingdom enterprise, it appears sometimes that we march to the beat of another drum. I wanted to look at this because it seems like to me that for the space of about 30 to 60 days, if you will, we become some grateful people. It appears that there is preparation made and plans executed in that we might emphasize how grateful we are. And I thought that really it was a poor presentation of the king we represent. That somehow we allow the world to suggest to us that it's all right and it's okay now for the next few days to gather as family and friends and talk about how much we mean to each other. And then all of a sudden, when we traverse from this calendar to the next calendar year, that it's all right then for us to just disappear from fellowshipping with one another, from showing love and care and concern until we get back to this period that we call Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year. I wanted to look at it, Jones, because I'm disturbed that somehow I think every day is supposed to be a day of thanksgiving. I really don't think that it has to have anything to do with cranberry sauce when we are a child of the king. Because we ought to be happy with Jesus alone. That's what the believer ought to do. But I've watched with great detail and disgust, if you will, how we just march by the world's drumbeat. And I thought that there was a solution to this problem. There is a solution to the problem because you see, it's more than just being happy. Because see, when you're happy, something has to be happening. Help me if you will. That's why so many of you are sad, because ain't nothing happening in your life, and you need something to jumpstart your happiness. But real believers, blood-bought, born-again children of God, do not live based on their circumstances, and they do not respond to life based on their situation. We have joy, and joy is supernatural. I think I said something then, Jackie. Happiness is mundane, is earthly, but joy is supernatural. And in order to have joy that you can say, like they said in the old church, this joy that I have, Santa Claus can't take it from me. This joy that I have, the turkey can't take it from me. This joy that I have, the world didn't. Any help in this house didn't give it to me. And they can't take it away. See, people are naturally happy on some occasions. Birthdays, anniversaries, heading to Disney World, that kind of stuff makes us happy. But I tell you, the birthday only lasts 24 hours. The anniversary only lasts 24 hours. And Disney only lasts till your money run out. You need something that is greater than what's going on around you. I found out something. I found out that life changes without warning. Life changes without the courtesy of a notice. You can wake up this morning and all be well. And before the sun goes down, trouble will find its way to your address. Am I preaching to anybody in here? And if you only have happiness, you're going to be sad. And so we need to make sure that we have joy. And joy comes from above. It's supernatural because, see, you can go through stuff. Be bruised and battered and say, like Pastor just said a few minutes ago, I'm still here, when you have joy. But see, when you're just happy and stuff is not happening your way, then you look like you've been sucking on lemon for 7 days and you're saturated with sadness. But I think as a believer, a child of God, if we're sitting on the ash heap, done lost 10 children, and our health is bad, we still ought to be able to say, I'm going to wait till my change comes. Talk to me if you can. We ought to have our hand in the winding chain, leaning and depending on God, so no matter whether it's raining or sunshine, we still can thank God for another day's journey. And somehow we got to get out of this. We got to get out of this mode of just being thankful. You ought to be thankful, but somehow I'm convinced that it needs to be translated into not just being thanksgiving, but thanks-living. Have our witness here. See, we in order to do this now, because now what Paul says in the text now, listen, he says in everything. Now I want you to read it. I want you to get it clear, because I want to get this twisted. I'm not advocating that you ought to be jovial and joyful when something bad happens to you. That's not what he said here in the text. He says in everything, give thanks. Now, he didn't say that you had to be thankful for everything. I'm not thankful for a root canal. But I give God thanks I got the money to pay for it. Y'all better help me here. See, in everything, we got to know how to give thanks. But see, we cannot give thanks for everything because we are some selfish people. Yes, we are. We are some selfish individuals. It's everything that happens is about us. Everything that goes on has to revolve around us. We come in this room and there are hundreds of people in this room and we want the temperature set for us. Y'all gonna help me here for a minute? We come in here and we want to sit in a certain place and we don't want certain people sitting beside us. Selfish, I tell you. Now, you left home and you said to yourself that you look good. You told self, we got it going on. And then you got over here and rolled your eyes at somebody else because you thought they looked better than you. Selfish, I tell you. We are. I'm trying to find some help in here because y'all ain't helping. We are some selfish people. We want everything centered and catered around us. Let's go shopping. Okay, when we're going when I get ready. If we ain't going to my store, then we're. Where y'all going? Well, we going over here. We going. I don't go to them places. Selfish. Have you ever decided once in your life to just take a risk and live outside of you? You ever decided just for once not to demand the remote and just sit down and watch what somebody else is watching? You ever decided just for once, Benjamin, not to pull rank because you the boss and call all the shots, and that you just take the gun and start shooting instead of just watching at what somebody's aiming at? Just once. It just once in your life. Have you ever decided to just step out of you and just see what life is all about from somebody else's perspective? I mean, I'm not advocating, Larry, that you just change forever, but just could you do this for 24 hours? Could you just let it not be about just for 24 hours? I'm going to put somebody else before me. I'm going to think of others when I do what I do. I'm going to speak to other people like I want to be spoken to. I'm going to do to other folk what I really would like them to do for me. See, you aren't going to get to be a person who is involved in thanksliving until you free yourself of yourself. I'm going to slow down and say that Sesame Street style. My greatest adversary, second to Satan, is me. Can I just confess? I do more harm to me than anybody else ever could. I'm in a war with me more than I am boxing with you. For Paul said, every time I desire to do good, preach, man. Every time I make up my mind I'm going to do right, I'm going to go straight in the narrow, I'm going to do what God wants me to do. He said, evil is present on every hand. And if I'm not careful, I find myself succumbing to what life is offering me that's on the wrong side of the fence. And so Paul said, in everything, give thanks. Now, how can I do this? How, preacher, how can I do this? How can I give thanks in everything? Well, first thing, we must have the right attitude. Oh, Lord have mercy. That's the first point for the note takers, is we got to have the right attitude. And listen, there aren't many things I can control in this world. I woke up this morning, I had to accept the weather. Oh, I really accepted it, but I had to accept it. I thank the Lord, but I had to accept it. I couldn't change the price of gas. I had to accept it. Y'all gonna help me out here for a minute. I couldn't control all those cars driving down the road with me. I had to accept the fact that they were there. But there's one thing I can control, and it's my attitude. We spend all our lives trying to control other folks' attitude and tell them, you got an attitude. Now, all of us in here got one. And 4 or 5 of y'all getting one with me right now, but I don't care. We must be able to control our attitude. Paul said in Philippians 2:14, do all things without murmuring and disputing. Now, let me tell you why you murmur. Can I tell you why you always mumbling and grumbling, whipping on your breath, talking behind folks' back? Murmuring arises out of a discontented soul. See, we can be discontented with our circumstances. Someone seems to be getting ahead of us. Somebody has something we thought we should have gotten. He came to church with her and not you. She went out to dinner with him and not you. I mean, you chose what you have on this morning. I don't think there's many folk in here that somebody else dressed you. And yet, 4 or 5 of y'all caught an attitude. When folk were going around offering time, you wasn't putting money in, you were looking. And somehow you devalue and de-appreciate what you have because you think now that somehow what they have is more than what you have. Can I just do this Sesame Street style? Whether it's BMW, Mercedes-Benz, or Mercury, it all does one thing. Get us from point A to point B. I don't care. I'm not at nobody. But whatever you riding in, don't make you make it. Because right at this particular moment, I don't know if you came in a Mercedes, if you came in a Chevrolet, picked up one shelf, the other, and laid the other foot, walked over here. I don't know how you got up in here because you couldn't bring your car with you. Somebody been talking to me here for a minute. So you come in here with a little attitude, your little nose turned upside down because you live at a certain address. You can't bring the address up in here. I don't know if you came out of a mansion or a chicken coop up in here. But we somehow find ourselves discontented with others because somehow I think that God gave them a little more than he gave me. And murmuring is one of those dispositional sins that grieve the Holy Spirit so much. It can easily overtake us if we're not careful. And we become an embittered person. I mean, can I say it like this? You want to embrace the thinner you. Somebody else done embraced it. And all of a sudden you're murmuring because you're not willing to do what it takes to get what you got. They have the credentials because they went to school and done the work. You keep talking about you going back. So you going, he think he's something, she thinks she's something. Boy, it's just getting quiet and quiet in here, boy. I'm going to have to break out this case of amens in a minute. Your murmuring is a barometer to the discontentness that's in your soul. I'm going to bring it down where they can get it. This penthouse preaching right here. I'm going to get down to the basement here in a minute. This is why some men can't please some women. It's not that what you aren't doing isn't good enough, but they so discontented because they heard that Mary Jane was living better. They heard that she had it going on, but they hadn't been at the address. You don't know what it takes for some of us to get over here. You don't know where some of us come from to come over here. You don't know we go through to live where we live, and all of a sudden you just assume that just because Carol is married to Larry and he's a preacher pastor, that it ought to be peaches and cream. I thought we'd use us so that nobody have to be fighting with me later. But there's some weeds in every patch. And before you start murmuring and throwing shade on folks and hating on folks, you might need to check yourself. Because whenever I'm jealous of you, it's because I feel that there's a deficiency in me. You remember when the Lord sent Moses down to Egypt because the people of God had been groaning and crying out for help. And Moses went down, he and Aaron, and led them up out of Egypt, crossed the Red Sea, and saw the mighty hand of God working in their lives. And then they get out there in the wilderness. And all of a sudden, the Bible says, so all the congregation lifted up their voices and cried, and the people wept that night. And all the children of Israel complained against Moses and Aaron. And the whole congregation of them said, if only we had died in the land of Egypt. Now, you were crying to get out of Egypt. God brought you out of Egypt. Now, you don't want to be where you are. So all of a sudden, now it's not your fault. It's the person's fault that led you where you are. You can control. Last night, in the airport, I was moved and motivated and encouraged by the parenting of a father with his two sons. We all were late in the airport. Everything was closing. Food courts were closing down, so this one place became popular because it was just the only thing left open. And the cuisine that was there, the young man had problems with it. He said, basically, I don't want to eat there. And all of a sudden, his face started becoming disfigured, and he started putting on this attitude of disgust. And his daddy said to him, he said, I told you, straighten up your face. And if you don't eat here, you won't eat it all. Hold up, you finna miss the punchline. That was one brother. And because that brother didn't want to eat there, the other brother's face started becoming disfigured and talking about, I don't want to eat here. He said, and I told you to. You don't eat here. You don't eat it all. So I said, oh, man, it's on now. I just pulled back. I really started watching that. I wanted to see what the results of this was going to be. And all of a sudden, the father turned and started looking at the menu. And the first boy who didn't want to eat there tapped him on the hip and said, I want one of them. Your murmuring is contagious, and it affects other folk. See, you come in here and don't like the pastor, that's okay. But when you turn the whole row or the whole section, now they don't like me, and they don't even know why they don't like me. They don't like me because they heard you murmuring. So their faces are disfigured, their amens are diminished, and the looks they have on their face is just like yours. Man, I'm preaching here this morning. Jesus. We have to, first of all, have the right attitude. If you're going to do thanksgiving, because see, we got some more living to do when the turkey is gone. When the Christmas tree back in the box and the lights are put up, we have some more living to do. And somehow we got to start living like we are thankful people. Because it's just so easy for us to be like the two fellas in the line that said they didn't want to eat there because maybe it just didn't have what they wanted to eat. But sometimes God gives you stuff that you don't want. He said he supply your need. Now, if you want to get some of your wants, he said delight yourself in the Lord. And then he'll give you the desires of your heart. Now, I need food, but I may not want broccoli. I need a job, but I may not want to flip hamburgers right now. He shall supply your need. Y'all remember those fellows who were standing in the marketplace, and Jesus said in the parable that the man came out and asked him, why stand you here idle? And they said, no man has hired us. And so one went in 1 hour before quitting. And another one went in a different time, and there were some who had worked the whole 12 hours. And so it came time to get paid, and And the paymaster paid them all the same. And then the ones who had worked all day long started complaining because there was one guy who worked an hour and got paid the same thing they worked, and they worked 12 hours. And the owner of the money asked them a question. Did I do you wrong? Did you not agree with me to work 12 hours for a penny? What I do with my money and my gifts and my labor is up to me. You hadn't been wrong, so you ought not be murmuring and trying to cause no confusion in the labor market. Your deal was with me for 12 hours, 1 penny. It ain't this man's fault that I chose to hire him at the 11th hour and pay him the same thing. We got to have the right attitude. The Bible said, be hospitable to one another without grumbling. We got to know how to treat people and put a smile on your face. Sometimes you got to smile when there ain't nothing to smile about. You represent Jesus, and here you are coming in here and listen, if you just only knew what your neighbor been through, you'd apologize to God for your complaining. You talking about, man, my foot hurt, I'm tired, I got these cones on it, and there's somebody don't even have a leg. And so we got to get our attitude in check, because I mean, some of y'all, I can be preaching and you be smiling, looking good, and then as soon as I say something you don't like, just change it like that. You go to the football game, somebody step on your foot, knock your beer out your hand, get in your way, and you don't lead the game. They making all this noise over here. Your team losing, their team winning. You don't lead the game. Correct me if I'm wrong. You didn't get up and lead because your team lost. Man, bump you and your beer fell on your shoe. Oh, that's all right, man. That's okay, man. That's okay. Don't even know the folk, high-fiving them and waving with them and agreeing with them. And I'm preaching truth, and you looking at me just like you looking at me. Some of y'all thinking about it. If he hasn't said that, I'll get up and walk out. I just may go anyhow. When you have the right attitude, it backs me to my second point, then you display the right actions. Your beliefs determine your behavior. See, a lot of folks apologize after they cuss you out. I don't know what happened to me. That just, look, you don't curse like that without being a cusser. No, you had them things rolling off. They were rolling off your tongue. Can I get any reformer cussers in the house to help me out for a minute? Back in the day when we did it, when it rolls like that, that's out of a lot of practice. That's what's in you. I thought I had something then. Now, I know y'all don't cuss now, but help me out back in the day when you did do a little cussing. These preachers up here trying to act like they don't know what I'm talking about. Don't make me call you out now. I can call a couple of y'all. Y'all can be a witness. I ain't forgot how. No, they on layaway. Don't make me pull it off. Keep on. And what really happens when you have to go and apologize because you claim you got all out of character. When you get out of character, you don't even know what you're doing. See, a person out of character, you know, you can tell when somebody's trying to perpetrate a fraud, act like they're somebody they're not. But see, when it's you, the real you, just got unveiled, you know the character too well to talk about I'm out of character. See, let me say it like this here, and I don't advocate this. I really hope that you don't do this here. I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap if you do it. People who are cussers do not do it properly. So if you out of character and you are cursing, you're going to be like, cursing. But now when you in character, you get the point. Gonna have the right bass, the right wag, the right swag, the right it. You don't shake that thing out of character. That's character. That's what's up in you. Hebrews 13:5. I gotta go. Said, let your conversation be without covetousness. Let your lifestyle be without covetousness. In other words, stop comparing your stuff to my stuff. Every time you got to talk about what you got, well, I saw this and look, be yourself. Breaking news. Can't nobody beat you being you. And that's what's wrong with a lot of us right now. We just confused because this morning we somebody, this evening we somebody else, and tonight we going to be somebody. Look, just be you. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. Kept watching them folk. That boy went on through that line, got that food, sat down and ate it. I got a sneaky suspicion that the daddy had some other stuff that was going to come into play. That had already been in the play before. Y'all ain't going to help me out, see. Anybody from the old school raising? Head goes like this here. We finna go to church. And we get over there to church. I don't want y'all talking to them other children. I don't want y'all chewing on gum. I don't want y'all going to the bathroom. Matter of fact, you're going to the bathroom before you leave home. You ain't got no reason to get up. Go out the door. If you get up while we at church, anybody ever been read the riot act before you left home? And you didn't stay in the seat because you like the preaching. You stayed in the seat because your mama had promised to act a fool on you. And I had one that would do it right in church. I need to control the balcony. These children up in the balcony. No, the balcony crowd need to get the riot act before they leave home. I didn't have to sit with mama because mama told me before I left home what was going to happen. And one Sunday I told y'all before, I'm going to be bad. I got smart with the usher. Told me about be quiet. I looked at him, be quiet. I forgot that he could walk and I couldn't. He walked right on to my mama and told my mama, do you know what your son just told me? My mama told him, and my mama is still being safe, y'all. Tell him, look at me. She in the choir stand. I'm out there in the congregation The usher comes back with a little smirk on his face and your mama said, look at her. And you know, I didn't want to talk to me if you can. I looked at her. I flunked science and reading class, but I read them lips. I got the message. When you are a covetous type person, you find yourself like the disciples found themselves when Jesus found them over there in Luke 5:5. He said to them, have y'all any fish? They said, we fished all night long. We've toiled all night long and caught nothing. Talk to me if you can. What do you catch if you catch the big car, if you catch the big house, if you catch the big job? What have you caught? What will a man give for his soul? You gonna live a life of luxury over here and burn in hell? I think I'll just do without some things over here and wait on the stuff over there. Because watch this, I've got to close. I promise I'm leaving, Nick, but watch this. You do all this getting pretty, fixing up, getting stuff in the right place, coordinating, all that. And then the Lord don't even look at none of that. This is for us. Man looks at the outer appearance. Talk to me if you can. That's why folks wearing croaker sacks don't make it in. And we're going to be on the outside looking in with all our good-looking stuff on. It's because we fix up the outside and the inside is black as 1,000 midnights. And so what we believe controls how we behave. And if we got the right attitude, then we display the right actions. That's how we move from thanksgiving to thanksliving. We learn how not to be just whiners all the time. When I'm content, Paul said, I've learned how to be content. Paul said, whether I'm full or hungry, I'm up or down, I have or have not, you won't ever know. Because I've learned how to do this thing. I've been to the school of hard knocks. God has taught me how to handle this situation. If only way you may know I'm hungry, you may hear my stomach growl, but my countenance is not going to change whether I'm broke or got money. Y'all going to help me out? My countenance is not going to change whether I got stabbed in the back or just got hurt. I've learned how to be content. The Lord is the one who brings about that contentment whereby Thanksgiving for me is a 24/7, 365 deal. A lot of times people say, what you gonna do? You ready for Christmas? I say, I was ready January 1. And they'll call me a Scrooge because, oh, you just take all the fun out of Christmas. No, every day. I get a present every day. I wish I had somebody. I open a present every day. Every day I open my eyes, that's a present. Do I have a witness here? Every day I wake up and got good health, that's a gift. Every day I wake up clothed in my right mind, that's a blessing from the Lord. And I ain't going to wait till December 25 to tell the Lord, thank you for all these presents I've opened up all these days this year. That's why they said in the old church, I woke up this morning when my mind stayed on Jesus. They said, I am walking and talking with my mind stayed on Jesus. They went on, Stokes, to say, you can't hate your neighbor if your mind is stayed on Jesus. Or if you wake up in the morning with your mind stayed on Jesus. you will be able to handle whatsoever the world bring your way. You know, when you got your mind stayed on Jesus, then it does not matter who it is or what it is. You realize that no weapon formed against you shall prosper. No. It may cause me a little turbulence. It may cause me a little trouble. But if I keep my mind stayed on Jesus, I will be able to handle whatever life brings. And because I've made up in my mind, I'm going to praise the Lord. Because you see, the praising person is the prevailing person. It may look like you're losing, but if you got your praise, you're going to come out a winner. Do I have anybody in the room who do not mind being a witness that out of all the stuff you've been through, you lost some family and you've lost some friends, you even lost some money? But I need a saint in the house who can say, out of all I've been through, I never lost my praise. Can I get a witness in here now? Yes, Lord. And that brings me to my third point. When you have the right attitude, when you're involved in the right activities that's displayed in your actions, being and only then can you give the applause to the right person. You see, when you know that it was God who done it for you and you don't mind being a witness, that's when you will tell the world, I found the Savior. And he's sweet, I know. Good afternoon, y'all. But I want to tell you that when you depend on God, he will bring you out, and you will be able to be like a Paul who said, I've learned whatever state I'm in, therewith to be content. Y'all remember when Paul and Silas, they were in jail one night. Do y'all hear me? And they had been whipped with many stripes, and they was bound in the inner prison. They were in stocks. But I heard somebody sing, I hear some music in the jail. It was Paul and Silas. They sang praises unto the Lord. They sang unto the Lord in jail. They sang unto the Lord down in trouble. They sang unto the Lord. I found out, yes, Lord, the best time to praise God is when things are going wrong. The best time to praise God is when things are going against you. You can say like Job said, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him and wait on the Lord to turn my things around. Don't you know he will do it? I said God will do it. Do I have a saint in the house who's seen God work in your life? You've seen God do some things that other folks said couldn't be done. Just when you thought you couldn't take no more, the Lord, he came and propped you on that leaning side. Just when you thought the enemy had won, the Lord came and told you, be still and know that I'm God. If anybody in the room who can testify that God is good all the time, he's God. Oh, yeah. I said he's good. Good evening to y'all. Thank you for coming today. But I need somebody in the room who ain't too holy to help us be a witness. I heard the psalmist say, I will. Do I have anybody in the room who can say, I will bless the Lord at all times? Don't play with me now, but I need some radical praises in here. I need somebody Anybody who's been through some stuff and God brought you out and you just want to be a witness that all the things I've been through I still got joy. Anybody got joy? Ain't he all right? I say, ain't the Lord all right? He walks with me and talks with me. He holds my hand. Anybody in the room who know the Lord is a keeper and you ain't too holy to help us, if you know he's keeping you right now, then wave your hand. Shout it, yeah! Shout it, yeah! I want to give God praise. I want to give God glory every day. I want my life to be a life of thanksgiving, so I don't have to get so involved in a one-day occurrence of thanksgiving. Anybody in the room got something to be thankful for? Anybody in the room know God did it? Anybody in the room know the Lord? He's blessing you. Right now, right now. Oh, right now. Yeah, yeah. The Lord is blessing us right now. Every day we open our eyes. Every day we have the activities of our limbs. I know for some of us right now, it's rough. Right now it's tough. I understand that right now you're just simply going through. That you're going through. You don't stop there. You're just passing through. On our way back last night, we came from Austin to Houston and was right on time. And got to Houston and we rushed over to the gate and found out the plane wasn't even there. I asked the lady, is this the gate? She said, yeah. I said, the plane was late leaving Tulsa. It's in the air now. Me and my wife didn't blow our brains out. We didn't get mad and cuss out the agent. I said, baby, let's go around here and get something to eat. Went and got some food, because we're going to be there for a minute. And you're not yourself when you're hungry. Got that food, came on back around to that gate. And they said that we were leaving at 10:06 and they adjusted the time to 10:15. It came over the announcement system, said the plane is here for Gulfport. Go down through B6. We get down to B6 and we still had to wait. But because I didn't commit suicide, cuss out the gate agent, went and got something to eat, I was able to stand in the line and not be angry. We finally boarded the aircraft about 10:23. 10:26, we were sitting on the plane. A text came from the airline saying that the plane would depart at 10:23. I didn't get mad because the text was incorrect, but I was sitting in my seat. The pilot apologized because we were late leaving, said we'll get to the Gulfport as quickly as possible. I said, we ain't got to get there that fast. Because I had got something to eat, I wasn't angry. He says, we're going to bump a little while over the way, but I'll try to make it as smoothly as possible. And I just started praying because I wasn't driving. I said, Lord, fix the air. That we can get to Gulfport, first of all, safely, and I don't get shook up too much on the way. And about an hour later, I flew over Walmart on 49 in Gulfport. And I knew then the next thing I was going to see was the runway. And I said, now, pilot, I just need you to do one more thing for me. Stick this landing. Dropped that aircraft down. We got to the gate. We got out. And then they took their time by bringing my luggage. But I didn't get mad. I didn't cuss out the folks at the gate because the luggage wasn't there, because I got something to eat. about an hour and a half ago to sustain me. Through what I was going through. And all some of y'all need to do is get some spiritual food in your belly. Get some word in your life to sustain you for what you're going through. You just passing through. God ain't going to keep you here. God ain't going to make you stay right there. Houston was not my destination. That's where I changed planes at. My destination was Pascagoula. And when you're a thankful person who live life thankfully all the time, little stuff like that don't blow your mind. Some of y'all cuss out folks because they counted your money wrong, because they let somebody go before you and just blow up. I got her told. I told her, I didn't appreciate her letting that lady go before me. Because you don't have nothing in you. When you got God in you, you can go third and still know you first. When you got God in you, you can let everybody get what they going to get and still know what you're going to get going to be the best. When you live thankfully, slow down. Slow down, and start counting your blessings. Get some word in you. Psalmist say, that word I hid in my heart, but I may not sin against you. Now, we were going to have to go through all that stuff we went through last night either way. But because we went round to that restaurant and got something to eat, I was not irritable. And I could deal with the delay because I know the delay was not denial. Because I had a ticket. Whenever the plane showed up, I had a ticket. That was given. What you saying, Larry? I'm saying you got a ticket to a heavenly home. Don't let this craziness down here cause you to lose your mind and do things that you shouldn't do. Look, every time somebody crosses you, say, I got a ticket. You ain't finna make me miss my blessing. I ain't finna cuss you and then get my blessing cut off because I said something I shouldn't have said. I'm going to eat. So when you look at me like that, I'm going to smile. And you can say, he done ate. The Lord will sustain you. Some of y'all don't even know how you're getting through what you're getting through right now. It's because the Lord is propping you on every leaning side. Glory! God bless you. I've kept you much too long. But I don't want you to be victimized by what's under the tree. Remember who's on the tree. One Friday they put him on it. Gave his life for your sins and mine. They put him in the grave. And we received the best present we ever received. Stone was rolled away. The tomb was empty. He said, I am he that was dead, but now I live forevermore. And if your life is confused and messed up and you don't know what to do, I offer you Christ. I recommend this Jesus because he's the center of our joy. He's the reason we can keep on making it. He's the reason we can keep on taking it. He's the reason why we hadn't quit. Our lifestyle has to be indicative of what we believe. Our behavior ought to be representative of who we belong to. My mama always told me, boy, you my child, act like you mine. Now, if my mama demanded that of me, and what do you think Jesus demanded of us? If we his children, we ought to act like we his children.